Well. Welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watt2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. Here we go. Sunday night football. The New York Jets at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Great. Another standalone game for Gang Green, just what they've been looking for. Jets really need a victory here with a 2-4 record. If they're going to have any kind of a season, you better be Pittsburgh, because this is a team you're going to be competing for a wild card spot against. The Steelers are 4-2, tied with Baltimore for first place in the AFC North. And somehow, last I checked, the Jets are favored by 1 point. So let's break this matchup down. And we're going to start when the Pittsburgh Steelers have the football going against the Jets defense. Now, Pittsburgh is averaging 298.3 yards per game. That's 26th in the NFL. They're averaging 20.7 points per game. That's just 20th in the league. There have been a lot of questions at quarterback all week. That's been about 80 to 90% of the headlines coming out of the Steel City. Mike Tomlin would never confirm what the plan was, even though he knew who his starter was going to be. And so then on Friday, not even an hour after Tomlin said, "We made our decision, but we're keeping it in-house," wide receiver George Pickens confirms that it's basically going to be Russell Wilson, that they've been putting extra time in on the practice field and all of this. So never trust George Pickens with any secrets that you have. But a calf injury had kept Russell Wilson out. Fields started the Steelers' first 6 games, and he completed 66% of his passes for 1,106 yards, 5 touchdowns to 1 interception, passer rating 93.9. He also rushed for 231 yards and rushed for 5 touchdowns as well, but he's going to the bench. So with Russell Wilson, it's a little bit of a mystery what we're going to see here. Now, I think he's one of the best quarterbacks of this generation, though his time at Denver kind of diminished that reputation a little bit. He doesn't have the mobility that he used to have, but he is more steady in the pocket, and he's a more accurate passer of the football than Justin Fields is going to be. So it'll be interesting to see what the Steelers' offense has dialed up now that they've changed quarterbacks. And running back, well, this is what the offense is really all about. Nyjets will get the bulk of the runs. He has been dealing with a rib injury this week, but he should play. He finally had a big game against the Raiders last week, averaged over 7 yards per carry. Also, Jalen Warren, pretty good number 2 running back, he returned last week, got just 6 carries for 7 yards. And wide receiver, well, let's go back to George Slim Pickens. Very flammable. Now, what I mean by that is he's very boomer bust. Think like a Gabe Davis, that kind of a guy. For the season, 26 catches on 44 targets, 363 yards, no touchdowns, but has 7 catches over 20 yards. Also had 3 drops last week against the Raiders. So very boomer bust, like a more flammable version of Allen Lazard. Yeah, a faster version of Allen Lazard, I guess. Calvin Austin, also very fast, but he doesn't get a whole lot of attention. Just 10 catches on 17 targets and 1 touchdown. Roman Wilson, the rookie from Michigan, is starting to get some more practice time. You might see a little bit of Roman Wilson on Sunday night. You have a pair of very good tight ends in Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington. I would expect the Steelers to run a lot of 12 formations, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, and expect them to attack the middle of the field. You know, the Jets have a weakness at safety right now, especially with Chuck Clark out, and I would expect them to exploit that. On to the offensive line. Now, this is going to be the Steelers' 5th starting offensive line combination in the 7 games they have played. Some of the guys on injured reserve include Troy Fontenot, their rookie, James Daniels, ex-Jet Nate Herbig, Dylan Cook. At left tackle, you've got Dan Moore Jr. He's been giving up some pressures lately. The rookie center, Zach Frazier, he will miss this game with an ankle injury, so Ryan McCollum will step in. At guard, you have Isaac Seumalo and the rookie Mason McCormick, who I really like coming out of the Dakotas. They could run block pretty well. Seumalo has been a little bit banged up too. But the fact that they run block well, that does scare me against the Jets defense. And at right tackle, you have a very famous name in Jets lore, Broderickjones, the player the Jets were rumored to be drafting before Pittsburgh traded up with New England to basically take Jones 1 pick before the Jets could. And the Jets had to settle for willmcdonald, who's tied for the 2nd in the league in sacks. So that worked out pretty well. Now, last week, Jones did contain Max Crosby pretty well, but when he does make mistakes, they are glaring mistakes. So I think this is an opportunity for the Jets pass rush to get home. and take down Russell Wilson. And when you have a quarterback who's less mobile, that pass rush becomes that much more dangerous. I'm just worried about the Jets secondary. DJ Reed is a game-time decision, but I don't expect him to play as of now with a groin injury. Michael Carter II and Chuck Clark are out as well, but you do have some good pieces to replace them in Brandon Echols and Isaiah Oliver. But at safety, I can't look at Ashton Davis for 60 snaps again. I said this on the Wednesday Night Live show. Ashton Davis looks like he has the tools, looks good, comes around once in a while, and in little doses, he could be okay. But then when you get the full experience of him, you just wonder, oh my gosh, why we go back to this? He's like the McRib. So the McRib Ashton Davis. Yeah, I am a little bit worried. But again, can the Jets stop the run up the middle? They couldn't do it against San Francisco. They couldn't do it against Buffalo. They have to do this. I mean, I thought Lucky Fotu would be a very valuable piece in stopping the run. He wasn't last week. So let's see what Aaron Whitecotton and Jeff Ulbrich have in store. All right, now let's do what we always do. Let's flip the script. When the Jets have the football against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, I'm going to explain this very simply. Pittsburgh is 0-2 when their opponent scores 20 points or more. When the opponent scores under 20 points, Pittsburgh is 4-0. So 20 points, that's the magic number really for the Jets to hit, it seems like. But Pittsburgh is averaging 294 yards per game allowed. That's 8th in the league, but just 14.3 points per game. That's 2nd in the league. They play a 3-4 defense, 3rd lowest blitz rate in the NFL. That could work out well for the Jets. But up front, you got some big boys. Larry Ogunjobi, Keanu Benton, and Cameron Hayward especially. 3 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss this year. And the star of the defense, of course, is TjWatt. 4.5 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss, 3 forced fumbles this year, and we haven't even played half a season yet. He's good, to say the least. And he's going against this papier-mâché wall of an offensive line that can't block a turtle, it seems, on the outside. Count him to be matched up against Morgan Moses. I actually feel better about that than I would feel about him going against Tyron Smith, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Steelers move him around to try to get Watt on Tyron Smith. The other pass rushing linebacker, Alex Smith, is very likely to be back after missing 3 games with a groin injury. And in the last 2 seasons, he has 21.5 combined sacks. What worries me is the Steelers can come at you at waves with their pass rushers, and that's what the Jets struggle with. On the inside, you have Patrickqueen at linebacker, racks up a lot of tackles, 43 this season. The other inside linebacker is Landon Roberts. He's got some speed as well. In the secondary, Dante Jackson, the cornerback, has 3 interceptions. Only 2 players in the NFL have more. And at safety, you have Minkahfitzpatrick, a team-high 29 solo tackles. So what do you do against this defense? How do you attack them? Well, they're allowing 85 rushing yards per game. That's 4th best in the league. Aaron Rodgers is going to have to throw. I don't think this is a big breecehall game. I think Braylon Allen could be a little more productive than Breece because you really need a good physical runner to go against Pittsburgh. But the line is going to have to protect Aaron Rodgers. That's the bottom line. I don't know where the bulk of the targets are going to go this week, whether it's going to be Devontae Adams, whether it's going to be Garrett Wilson, or maybe you throw the ball to the running backs in a couple of spots. That might work out pretty well. But if these tackles don't protect, I mean, it's game, set, match, in my opinion. A couple of other game notes. Pittsburgh is +7 in turnover differential, 3rd in the NFL. And the kicking game is going to play a role. This is one of the reasons I'm concerned about this game from a Jets perspective. Only San Francisco and Dallas have kicked more field goals than Pittsburgh. Chrisboswell is 26 for 27 on overall kicks this year. His one miss was from 62 yards. So 6 for 7 from 50 yards and up. And we know what Greg Zuerlein's been doing lately. I mean, he has just been an absolute mess. And in a game that a lot of people are thinking is like a race to 20, a defensive-minded game, it could come down to field goals. And Pittsburgh has a decided advantage there. Most of the analysts that I'm seeing are picking the Jets to win this game. I think maybe by talent alone, I would agree with it. But when it comes down to overall coaching, chemistry, confidence, discipline, things like that, Pittsburgh has the edge, and that's why I'm as worried about this game as I am. Well, that's the breakdown for Jets versus Steelers. Hey, let's see what happens. Jets have a chance to really start to write the season. After this week, it's New England. You win this game, you have a very good chance to get back to 500. Everybody, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.